It's Tim Gayesh again, and as I told you in my last video, I would start doing more of these. So I guess this would be the next segment, and meet Sam. Sam is from the private natural medicine or homeopathy tissue salts group that I have on Facebook. She's one of the longtime members. We're going to talk about Sam today, but before I get started, I want to talk about a small issue that arises when you're doing uh, when you're trying to do a facial analysis on people with freckles. Freckles look much the same as will liver spots, kidney spots, sunspots. So it's hard to differentiate and be able to tell what is a sunspot and what is a freckle. That makes it pretty hard to do. But what it does make easier to do is to see folds or lines in the skin. It makes it very much easier because the darker the skin, the more shadows that will show. So let's just get started with Sam here. We're going to first move up to her forehead, and we'll talk about the heavy metals lines here, which are not too bad at all. You'll see the horizontal lines. Whenever you see the horizontal lines in the forehead, that is always an indication of heavy metals toxicity because they're not common. These are not genetic. These are not age related. If you look around the people around you when you're at your work office or your place of employment, or anywhere for that matter, in the mall, you look around, you'll see some children that have these, and you'll see 90-year-olds who do not. This is not an age issue. This is a heavy metals issue. Whenever heavy metals are present in the body, this area that we're looking at right here, right here, will, for lack of a better term to help you understand, it will become puffy. It's an inflammation under the skin. The fluid will store there as well. And the way to know whether the severity of the toxicity is the depth of these folds. How puffy this outside edge is. There's a little bit of puffiness there, you can see it. But if you have somebody in person, it's a little easier to tell. And by touching the forehead and feeling, do you instantly feel bone or the skull behind it, or do you feel as though there is a layer of fluid or sponginess to the skin, a protection there, because there shouldn't be. That should literally be tissue layers atop of the skull or bone. So whenever you see this, you're looking at heavy metals. In this case, it's really not bad. I'm going to zoom out now because there's three indications here of a deficiency that you kind of need to see all at the same time to understand it. Oops, went a little too far. There we are. Okay. You'll see right here on the forehead, this is considered the T-zone. And this term is used by beauticians or aesthetics professionals. For those of you who know of my history prior to natural medicine and homeopathy, however you people say it, I'm Canadian, homeopathy is how I say it. Anyway, when it comes to this area, it's called the T-zone, and for those who didn't know or do not know, I was a medical aesthetics practitioner before getting into natural medicine, and made the transition after learning laser acupuncture to treat wrinkles, and was amazed that it was even possible. And that's actually how I transitioned to natural medicine. But let's get back to Sam here. Sam has an oily or greasy T-zone. As well, you can see the shine or glare, light reflection, which you shouldn't see on normal skin. You can see it all over the face, but it really stands out here in the T-zone. Well, when you see a greasy T-zone or oily T-zone, that is an indication of a NAT phos or sodium phosphate deficiency. with all tissue salt deficiencies or trace mineral deficiencies, you need more than one indication, facial indication or sign, before you start to declare deficiencies. Uh, this won't be a problem with SAM, because when you look for deficiencies in sodium phosphate, also look for these enlarged pores that you're seeing right here. Again, another sign of a sodium phosphate deficiency. Um, with sodium phosphate, there can be enlarged pores, and there can be pores that are so tiny, like these right here, that are so small that they're nearly invisible. Just look like pin dots. Uh, both of these either can be an indication, and when you do see both, that's a pretty good indication. Another indication of a sodium phosphate deficiency is right here. You see the slight hanging of the skin off the jowl line? Well, again, you're talking about sodium phosphate. Sodium phosphate is an acid neutralizer in the body. It is much as nat bicarb or sodium bicarbonate neutralizes acid in the body, so does sodium phosphate. Sodium phosphate may even be the more important one because it's faster acting. So, oops, let's zoom out here. When we look at her, and we're showing this now. I have to bring up another point, which I'm going to speak about these lines, but these lines are not a part of facial diagnosis. Again, this comes from my medical aesthetics background. There's there's a couple of things that actually deplete. Oops, I have a green box on my screen. I don't know why. Okay, we're going to have to work around that, I guess. Right here you're seeing these vertical lines off the lips. These vertical lines are smoker's lines, and they're very typical of people who currently smoke or have smoked long term or previously smoked long term, because once they're there, they won't go away. So she may be an ex-smoker, she may currently be a smoker, but one way or another she was a smoker. And that's undeniable with these horizontal lines, which are really forms of stretch marks from smoking. Now, why am I bringing that up? I'm bringing that up because smoking, tobacco, and caffeine, excess coffee drinking, deplete the sodium phosphate in the body. That is very relevant here. If she drinks a lot of coffee, she smokes a lot of cigarettes, and I don't know if she smokes now or not. She may be a past smoker. She's going to deplete the sodium phosphate. She depletes the sodium phosphate. Well, then, this is why when you hear people who smoke, people drink a lot of coffee, they become at a higher risk for vascular disease, heart attack. One of the main reasons why they do is because they're depleting their acid neutralizer in the body. These acids are attack. They'll attack the heart. They'll attack the veins, arteries. And that there's more to that. I'm trying to not get into a whole lesson of the circulatory system, but when your body is acidic, your body really needs to be acidic in order for cholesterol to form plaque. So once your body is in an acidic state through depletion of nat phos or sodium bicarbonate, sodium phosphate or sodium bicarbonate, your body's reading below 7.2 on a pH test strip, you become a high risk for cholesterol, no matter what your cholesterol levels are, whether your doctor says they're good or your doctor says they're high. If your body's acidic, it oxidizes cholesterol and makes it form plaque. But I'm not going to get into that whole issue. I just thought that might be an interesting point for some of you. we'll just zoom back out here. I don't know why this green box is up on my screen. I really don't want to redo this again. So we're going to have to put up with this video with the green box for what's left of it. The forehead we've got done. We have her Matt Foss issues. Let's have a very close look at her eyes. It's just not going to go away no matter what I do. Okay. So we'll look at this eye since it's easier. In my last video, in the child video with pandas, we talked about these red eyelids, these dark red eyelids. These dark red eyelids are potassium sulfate. You'll see there's contusions or convulsions. It's hard to see because as we age, our gravity takes hold and our eyelids begin to droop. And the skin below our eyebrows begins to cover our eyelids. So it's a bit harder to see here in her photo, but you can see that it is dark red. It is dark red, and you can see some discolorations blow up even more, but it becomes distorted. I should add here that this photo of Sam is enhanced. She doesn't look like this at all. This would be the equivalent of looking at her skin under a 5 times or 10 times magnification. So I enhanced it prior to putting the photo on here in order to see it. So before Sam kills me, this is not really what Sam looks like. The darkness of these spots is exaggerated greatly. The darkness, even the dark red here is exaggerated greatly in this photo. When I spoke earlier about freckles and freckles making it hard to discern what's an age spot, a sunspot, a freckle, I have to admit that I don't like this here. And you can see the variance in colors here. You look at this as dark brown. This is almost yellowish. That is entirely possible when it comes to freckles. But when they get close to the eyes, I start to wonder a bit about them, a little more about them, and wonder what their relevance is in deficiencies. But unless I had her here in person to determine that, it would be really hard to tell. So anyway, let's get back to the eye. We're looking at potassium sulfate. Potassium sulfate here. We're looking at food intolerances here. This has been talked about in so many videos that I won't go a whole lot into it because I'm making these videos a little too long and rambling too much lately. The red eye lips, and this is an eye lip, the part above. Whenever you hear me speak of eye lips, this is what I'm talking about right here. This section that's pointing to the sky, right where the eyelashes attach. And you see the redness on the outer half here. You see this redness. That's, and you also see this puffiness, which I spoke about in the last video. That whenever you see this, you want to declare that there is a food or environmental intolerance. You want to find this puffiness that goes along with it, and in this video we have it. There is some puffiness there below the eye that corresponds with the red eye lips and the red under eyes, which again signifies food or environmental intolerances. But I'm going to now go here. Well, I showed this in the last video as well. This here is called a cubical fold. And the longer and deeper that it is, the greater the deficiency. What is the deficiency? The deficiency is calcium fluoride. This is the main indicator of a calcium fluoride deficiency, and I won't get into the whole fluoride conspiracy theory silliness. Do your own investigation, folks. Fluoride is an essential nutrient of the human body. I do believe that there are issues with it, but I believe it's overstated. I'll just leave that alone for now before I get into hot topics. But here you're looking at a cubical fold, and what would happen here if this line were to go longer? This would actually turn here, and it would come here, and it would come right back around here. Okay, so we've identified this is definitely a calcium fluoride deficiency. So now we're going to zoom back out, and I spoke a little earlier about the nasolabial folds. These right here, folks, are nasolabial folds. Also indicators of sodium issues. I think little Mrs. here is not getting enough salt, but I told you that I would be able to show you in this video through the nasolabial folds when I was talking about puffiness being an indicator of the depth of folds. And you see how the reflection on this light is right here. You can see there's a big slope that goes into the fold. Though this is a moderately deep nasolabial fold, this is a sodium chloride deficiency. I really don't think she's got enough salt in her diet, or her body is not assimilating sodium properly. A deficiency can also be an assimilation or uptake issue as well, that your body might not be absorbing, and the fact that she has an acidic body would make it very possible that she would be nutrient deficient as well, and I'm gonna touch on that in a second as well. But here we go. These are nasolabial folds, and the nasolabial folds, when they're present and they're deep as they are here, you're looking at a sodium chloride deficiency, which is sodium chloride. You look at the box of your table salt. That's what sodium chloride is. Now, it's highly processed, the stuff that's on our table as well. It's iodized. But anyway, nat Muir, or also known as sodium chloride, we have right here. Now, there's two more things that I'm going to get at here, and I just want to talk about this for just one quick second. I've never seen these folds before, even in medical aesthetics. This one in particular, which is following the jawline. Not seen it. I would be looking at silica or copper Mars here again, and I would almost liken this to heavy metals, believe it or not. I don't know how to explain it, but anyway, I wanted to talk back about the uptake and assimilation of nutrients. Right here, it is not bad on her at all. Her body is taking some, but you see this line that's right here. I know it's hard to see in this video and in this photo, and remember that this photo is enhanced 5 to 10 times, so everything is standing out more. She doesn't have it. She's not presenting, at least, with such an issue, but I just want to explain. You can see right here that there's a tiny line that's formed, which is below the lower lip, above the balls of the chin. Right here, when you see a deep crease or fold there, that is a sign of malnutrition. But when you're seeing that, remember that malnutrition does not mean that a child's being starved to death. Not necessarily. It can also mean that the child is acidic, the child has a high level of inflammation, the child's diet is imbalanced. Remember, when it comes to macro and micronutrients, there's always other nutrients that are needed for uptake, that aid in the uptake of different nutrients. So, like copper and zinc, for instance, one without the other is sort of useless, but I won't get into that whole lesson either. I just thought I'd point that out to you and let you know that in this video as well. I hope to find somebody in the near future that does have this. There's one last issue that I'd like to point to, and the square box is right around it. You see the discoloration in her lips. If you look here, you'll see that there's a grayness, black, kind of dark circle under her eyes. Well, it's obvious that the light's directly in front of her face, so this is not shadow. She doesn't have a deep brow. She doesn't have a deep brow at all, so the deep brow is not creating a metamerism here, or shadow. So this, and I I'd like to stick my finger in her mouth now and open up and make her show her gums, and I bet you they're nice and pale. This is a sign of anemia. Uh, Again, this is an iron issue, but is it a calcium carbonate issue that's not, which is required for the uptake of iron? There's many minerals and vitamins that are essential for, or essential to aid in the uptake of iron. So normally treat it with ferrum phosphate is how I look at it, which is the adding and regulator of iron uptake. There was one last thing that I wanted to touch on, and I just thought about, and then I just completely slipped my mind. I should come better prepared and not just wing it when I do these videos. We looked at her lips. Oh, yes, 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 yes. I'm going to blow this right up here. Okay, here we are. Do you want to see somebody who has anxiety issues or depression? Or highly stressed and doesn't recognize it as anxiety? Look right here. See these deep indents? And I'm going to come back out. Deep indent in the temple, deep indent in the temple. You can even see the huge slope in. This is a phosphate deficiency. And remember, phosphates are brain food, brain and nerve food. Whenever you see these deep, the deep sunken temples, phosphates. Always look for phosphates. I believe that it's the calcium phosphate. Trying to remember that one off the top of my head. This, believe it or not, this is somewhat common, but I always treat it with the 5-phosphate formula. The 5-phosphate formula, whenever there's an issue of phosphates, is always a safe bet. So I don't really focus. So in this instance, we're talking NatPhos. We're talking, NatPhos indicated by the T-zone, open, large open pores, small shrunken pores, and the zoom back out. Oops. And the slight hanging cheeks. That's NatPhos. Phosphates indicated also by the sunken temples. Heavy metals issue, not that big a deal. The lines are not that deep, remembering that this photo is exaggerated. I would still try to keep those out of my body. However, in this issue, in this instance, it's not that big of an issue. We talked about the nasolabial folds, which are these ones. Again, I apologize for this green box. I have no idea what it's doing on my screen. These are our nasolabial folds, indicator of sodium chloride or natmior deficiency, which is the same thing, Latin versus English. We have our calcium fluoride indicators. We have our potassium sulfate. We're showing the anemia, though I'd love to see her gums to confirm that. And I think that's it. So that sums it up for poor Sam here. And I'm sorry, Sam, that I enhanced your photo, but you look pretty good for somebody almost 70 years old. I had to enhance it to show the wrinkles. And Sam is going to kill me because she's nowhere near 70 years old, and I'm just torturing her. I'll leave it at that. I'm trying to think of how old Sam is, but I believe she might even be younger than I am, so she's nowhere near 70. Sorry, Sam, I had to torture you a little. Anyway, that's it for today, folks. I think I've made this video a little too long again. Have a great day. We'll talk to you at the next video. Bye for now.